So anyways, I'm a little worried this morning and the last couple of days. So I've been stressing because I have 4 children. It goes Isaiah, who's just turned 17, Bella, who's going to be 13 next month, Kassie, who's going to be 7 in a week, and then Landon just turned 5. Well, with Landon, he was born premature, as you can see him right there. Hi. So anyways, he was born premature. I was actually, honey, can I talk for a second?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll be out. All 4 of my children were born premature. For some reason, I have Braxton Hicks contractions that just, even though Braxton Hicks are supposed to be not worrisome, I had them regular from, I would say, like between 4 and 5 months along, and they were regular, so it actually made my cervix dilate slowly. So even though I was fine and I wasn't getting real contractions, the Braxton Hicks were dilating me. So anyways, Isaiah was born 4 weeks early, which was nothing. He was 6 pounds. And then Bella and Kassie were both born 6 weeks early. So they were born at 34 weeks, and they were still healthy, and they were good-sized babies. They were both 5 pounds. I mean, good size for their age, and they could breathe on their own. The doctors knew that I had troubles, so they would always give me the steroid shots, just because I would be walking around at like 5 centimeters. What? We'll see. We're at the store right now. So anyways, it is 7:56 in the morning. But, oh, back to Landon. So Landon was born only at 31 weeks, which he had a lot of complications. 31 weeks for prematurity is not that early. What, honey? Yeah, we're going to go in just a minute. I promise. So 31 weeks for prematurity is not early at all. We saw 24-weekers that were born there that had less problems than Landon did. When I was pregnant with him, after the 3rd month, well, let's go back to Kassie too. I must have just problems with pregnancies in general because Kassie was a twin. She was one of a twin, and I had 5 ultrasounds done, and all 5 ultrasounds the baby was alive, but the last one, the twin B had passed away. They were fraternal, and I was finding out the genders, so I was like 4.5 months along. So we were planning on only having Isaiah, Bella, and Kassie, but when we ended up losing the 4th baby, I was 4.5 months along, and we figured since we had planned on having 4 throughout the pregnancy, even though we didn't plan on having 4, even though we knew we were going to have 4, we got used to the idea. So we decided to have Landon. And after 3 months pregnant, he stopped growing as he was supposed to. His growth slowed down so much that they were concerned. They kept sending me to an hour specialist. It was like an hour and a half away. Every single Thursday, I had to go and have an ultrasound done. And they started checking my placenta, and they found placenta lakes all over, which are little pools of blood. And that is normal with most pregnancies, with a small amount, but I had a lot of placenta lakes. So then they were testing the blood flow. Then they thought Landon had Down syndrome. Then they thought he had dwarfism because he was small. They were measuring all of his extremities. They tested me. They made me get an amnio. Like they didn't know what was going on, and they actually tried talking me into having an abortion at one point. So, and by then, I think I was 6 months along, and every test was coming back negative. Negative for dwarfism, negative for, oh my gosh, I can't even remember all the ones they did for chromosome abnormalities, but he was negative for everything. And so Adam and I decided to keep going through with the pregnancy. He was small, so when he was born at 31 weeks, he was measuring at least 3 weeks smaller than what he should have been. And because his onset of his labor, I didn't have that many Braxton Hicks with him as much, I don't think, as I did with the other 3. It just seemed like I wasn't in labor one minute, we were watching Walking Dead, and bam, the next minute we were at the end of Walking Dead and I was in full-on labor. So point being is that my body doesn't handle labor, or it handles labor fine, but it does not handle pregnancies. So we decided, you know, it's not that I love children. I am from a big family. My husband's from a big family. I'm fine with having children, and, you know, I love babies. I think just about everybody does. But I don't think my body could ever handle another one, because Landon was in the NICU for 6 months. He was on an intubation machine, 24-week-old babies that would come and go out of the hospital in 3 months, and Landon was intubated for a whole month with a tube down his throat. I mean, he was a sick baby. He was not an average 31-weeker. He was only 2 pounds, 0.2 ounces, and he was sickly. He was really sick. His lungs didn't have a chance to develop. They didn't give him the steroid shot because the labor happened within an hour. I delivered. I mean, we just had no warning. We think the placenta detached. Adam and I always said we would never have another one. After 6 months of traveling to and from the NICU, it took us an hour and a half each drive. So every day we wanted to see our baby, it was... Yes, honey. Every day that we wanted to see our baby, it was a 3-hour drive. It was terrible. And it makes me emotional. I would never want to go through that again. I would not want to put another baby through that again. We went through therapies. We had people at our house Monday through Friday when Landon finally did come home. We had therapy. We had physical therapy one day, speech therapy another day. We had a nutritionist the next day. We had a baby nurse one day. We had a woman that coordinated. All right, buddy. We had a woman that coordinated all these appointments come on the other day. So we literally had 4 to 5 people coming every single week. And this lasted for about a year. Landon, honey. And he was on a G-tube for 2 years. He couldn't eat. He had an oral aversion to food. He would vomit. Every time he did try eating through his mouth, he would throw it up, and he would aspirate it into his lungs. Time that he would go and get sick, it would come up from severe acid reflux, and he would breathe it into his lungs, and it would cause infections. He would go right back on the ventilator or right back on the CPAP after he had been off on low flow oxygen or high flow oxygen. It would just set him completely back. So he couldn't have nothing by his mouth. So he had to be on a feeding tube for 2 years. He had to be on oxygen for 1.5 years, even at home. It was not an easy road. And I'm just terrified. I would not want to go through that again. It would be the toughest thing in the world. It was hard on my kids. It really was. But anyways, I'm gonna go. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. You're so cute. All right. Talk to you later, guys.